Each day, approximately at the same time, this dog used to approach people requesting food, which it would then carry to a concealed underground passage. The motivation driving its behavior is bound to touch your heart. Samantha Davis had been interning at a company for half a year. Her workplace was just a short stroll from her home, rendering a car or public transportation unnecessary. Samantha took pleasure in her daily walks to and from the office. Growing up as an only child, Samantha experienced feelings of solitude. Her affection for dogs ran deep, and she had spent her entire youth eagerly anticipating the day when she could live independently and welcome a canine companion into her life. However, now that she had her own place, the prospect of actually having a dog posed challenges. She worried that her demanding work schedule would lead to neglecting a pet. Faced with this predicament, Samantha pursued an alternative course of action. During her walks, she would offer friendly pats to the amiable dogs she encountered and take breaks to feed stray animals whenever possible. Among the various dogs she encountered, a particular German Shepherd had caught Samantha's attention over the past week. It wasn't until she had shared a couple of meals with the dog that she noticed a distinct aspect about him. One day, on her way home from work, Samantha made a pit stop at her beloved fast food joint to indulge in some of her favorite hot dogs. As she savored her snack, she noticed the enthusiastic German Shepherd nearby and decided to share a portion of her meal with him. To her surprise, the dog didn't immediately consume the food. Instead, he darted away with it clenched in his teeth. This peculiar pattern repeated itself during subsequent feedings, leading Samantha to realize that she had never actually seen the dog eat any of the food she offered. Rather than eating it on the spot, the dog consistently ran off for a few minutes before returning empty-handed. Samantha couldn't help but be intrigued by this unusual behavior, sparking her curiosity about what the canine did with all the food he received from passersby. One day after finishing work early, Samantha took some time out to find out what her furry friend was getting up to with all the food he got. She only needed to ask a couple of shop owners to find out that the dog was quite popular around. His name was Rex, and he was the sweetest boy ever. Rex had first started showing up a couple of months earlier and would come by at around the same time every day. He would arrive with a little bag held tightly between his teeth, find the perfect place to hide it, and then go around asking for food. It didn't matter what he was given: a piece of chicken, a piece of donut. Rex took all the food he got and deposited it all in his little bag until he deemed it sufficiently full. Then he'd pick it up and disappear till the next day. A couple of weeks after Samantha had asked around about the dog some more, she decided to find out where the dog was taking all the food. She picked a free Saturday for her new mission and packed both dog food for Rex and human food for herself. The street vendors had told Samantha that Rex always disappeared into an underground passage with his bag of food, and no one ever projected who or what he was taking all the food to. Samantha waited until it was almost time for the dog to return to his secret passage before she took her usual stroll to his usual spot. The woman gave him a piece of chicken from her lunch. As she watched, he tucked the meat firmly in his teeth and strutted to his bag of food. As always, he dropped the piece of chicken into his almost full bag and picked it up with his sharp teeth. Samantha quietly followed him down the street and watched as he disappeared into the underground passage, just like she was told he always did. The passage was dimly lit, but it was well traveled by other people, enough that she wasn't alone. Samantha didn't really know what to expect when she found out where Rex took all his findings, but what she found there that day was something she had never imagined. As she walked through the tunnel, the canine suddenly made a turn and walked into another passageway to the left. This part of the underground passage was dark, the air felt moist, and it smelled of sewage. Samantha suddenly regretted her little adventure and wasn't sure if she wanted to continue to where Rex was headed. A sudden cold wind blew through the tunnel, but the urge to solve the mystery was too strong. Regardless of how she felt, the young woman held a handkerchief to her nose for the smell and followed the dog with eager pace. She reasoned that she had come all this way and would be ashamed to turn back. She was convinced that she was very close and just needed to persevere a little while longer. As she walked behind Rex, there was a light at the end of the tunnel that seemed to get brighter as they got closer to it. It looked like someone had built a fire, as the foul smell of sewage was replaced with the fumes of burning wood. Once again, Samantha was hesitant to take a step further. It was clear to her now that Rex had an owner and that this person was living here. She realized she was being too nosy and started to walk away from the light. As she turned her back, ready to run, possibly for her life, Samantha stomped dead in her tracks when she suddenly heard a tiny voice speak. "Hello? Is anybody there?" Afraid to look back, Samantha reasoned it was too dark for anyone to see her and kept quiet. It was dead silent in the tunnel for a few seconds, until the only noise heard was Rex, who started whining and running towards Samantha. The dog kept barking in excitement as he was familiar with the young woman. Samantha, a bit relieved she was not in danger with Rex by her side, was still unsure of what to do next. Then the tiny voice spoke again. "Please come into the light so I can see you. I won't hurt you, I promise." With mixed emotions and a churning feeling in her stomach, Samantha decided she would just take a chance. The tiny voice sounded harmless, and if this person was the sweet canine's owner, this could not be someone who would hurt her. Samantha finally took a few steps toward the burning fire, and there, under what looked like a makeshift tent alongside the wall, a small boy was lying covered under piles of dirty blankets. Samantha stood stunned, face to face with the boy, and was speechless. The boy said, "Hi, my name is Gary, and this is Rex, but it seems you already know him." With so many questions racing through her mind, Samantha finally said something. "Hi, my name is Samantha. Do you live here by yourself?" Rex then picked up the bag of food again and dropped it in front of Gary. The boy looked inside and shared the food with his pooch. He said, "I'm not alone. I have Rex. We live here together. Want some?" while offering Samantha a piece of chicken from the bag. As Samantha stood there watching Gary and Rex eating the contents of the bag, her heart broke. Gary explained that recently he lived there with his mom after they had lost everything. She had lost her job, and as a result, their home as well. One day, Gary's mom left to find work, but didn't return for weeks. Sick and unable to search for her food, Gary was aided by his dog, Rex. Samantha was deeply moved seeing them cling to each other. Determined to help, she suggested they leave their hiding spot. Carrying Gary and followed by Rex, she left the tunnel. As they emerged, Samantha pondered their fate if reported. Eventually, she decided to let them stay. Taking time off, she navigated the bureaucratic process and got permission to foster them. Fate favored her, making her a dog owner and a caregiver to Gary, fulfilling her wishes in unexpected ways. What do you think of this story, especially about this dog? Let us know in the comment section. Thank you.